Hi guys, tonight's lesson is going to be on division, and we're going to be beginning division with multiplication. So we're going to be using what we've learned in multiplication to divide. It's not the way your parents learned. It's not going to be long division. We will get to long division, but that's going to be much later. So bear with me. I want you to use these strategies for now because that's going to build your number sense and it's going to help you get to where we need to go next. So stay with me. Okay, so 32 divided by 4 is your very first problem. So what multiplication fact will that help us with to be able to figure that out? Well, we know that 4 times something is going to have to equal 32. So set that up. Now we have to decide 4 times what equals 32. If you don't know, there's a couple things you can do. You can use your multiples of 4 as to be able to find this answer. So that means we're going to count by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, and 32. Now, we're going to count how many times we had to get to 32 before we got to know what our multiple of 4 was. So it's once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So 4 times 8 is 32, which means that 32 divided by 4 equals 8 because it's a fact family. We could have also said 32 divided by 8 equals 4. Why? Because we could have said 8 times 4 is 32. It's all because of the commutative property. Now, all parts of division sentences have special words that names them. And we're going to learn what those special words are. So let's go back to what our multiplication sentence looked like. I'm erasing for a little bit so you can see this. And let's go back to what our problem looked like. Our problem was 32 divided by 4 equaled 8. Now, each of these have special terms. The very first term we're going to talk about is the quotient. The quotient is the answer to a multiplication problem. To a division problem. So the quotient to this problem is 8. Then you have the divisor and the dividend. The dividend is the number that's being divided. So in this case, our dividend is 32. And the divisor is the number that's doing the division. 4 is our divisor. So we have our divisor, which is the number that we're putting, the equal groups that we're putting things into. The dividend, that's how many you have in all, the total. And the divisor is how many would be in each group, because dividing is fair sharing, which we talked about today in class. All right, let's go on to another type of a problem. Now we're going to divide 34 divided by 4. Now, the last problem, what did we do? We set up our problem as a multiplication problem. So 4 times what number equals 34. Now you'll notice the only number that's changed so far is the dividend. Hopefully you realized that was the dividend. The dividend was now 34, not 32. And the divisor is 4. Now we're looking for the quotient. Now, if you'll remember, what did we do to solve this if you did not know your 4 facts? We had to find multiples of 4, right? So let's do that. 4, you can look at the numbers we just did above. 8, 12, there's nothing wrong with using what you already have. There's no reason to redo it twice, right? 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and 34? Would 34 work? No. The next number is 36. Now, 34 becomes between 32 and 36. So we know that this is not going to be even groups. Well, there are going to be equal groups, but there's going to be some left over. There's going to be some that don't fit into the group. So we have to fit 4 into every single group except the very last group will not have 4 in it. So here's the deal with this problem. When you stop at 30, when you get to 32, you have to get to the multiplication fact without going over. In other words, you don't go to 36. You stop at 32, which means we had to count 8 times to get there. So 4 times 8 equals 32, right? But we need to get to, you're right, 34. So we have to add something to 32 to get to 34. So what do we have to add to 32 to get to 34? We would have to add 2. So what this says is that there are 8 groups of 4, and then if we add 2 more, we would get our answer, which is 32. So how does that look? What would be our answer? Well, our answer would look like this. Our answer would be 8 are 2. 8 is your quotient and 2 is your remainder. So let's now go work on number 4. What is our divisor? Remember, the divisor is the number you divided by. That would be 4. Great. What was the dividend? That's the number that got divided. 34. Awesome. The quotient, the answer. How many were in each group? 8. The remainder. How many did not go into each group? These are the ones we had to add. 2. Good job. Now, what you're going to do next is you're going to go ahead and try and find the answers for number 5 and number 6 on your own. Now, number 5 is just asking you what the dividend is. So you just have to look at the problem and tell me which number is the dividend. Number 6, you're going to solve number 6 just like we solved number 3. Now, you do not have to find the multiples, but you do have to get to the fact that's closest without going over. I want you to go ahead and work on number 5 and number 6 now, and we'll check those in class tomorrow. Okay, you've completed number 5 and number 6. If you need more time, go ahead and press pause. We're now moving on to number 7. Now, number 7 says, write the equation that would check this division problem. So in other words, we're going to write the multiplication problem that will help us get to this division problem if we needed to check it. So, what is that going to look like? Well, we know that we're going to have to multiply by what number? 6. 6 times a number, right, is going to have to equal something. So what will we multiply by? Well, remember, a division sentence is a multiplication sentence written backwards. So let's not look at the remainder. Let's look at all of that right there. So 6 times what? 6 times 9, right? So 6 times 9, and then we're going to add, excuse me, we're going to add what? We're going to add our remainder, plus 3. And what should that equal? That should equal 57. Let me multiply this to check. 6 times 9 is what? What is 6 times 9? It's 54. 54 plus 3 equals 57. So this is a way that you can actually check to see if you got your answers correct. Now, go ahead and answer number 8 now. I want you to identify all your parts, your divisor, your dividend, your quotient, change it into a basic multiplication fact, and remember to add your remainder to get the answer. So go ahead and answer number 8 now. When you're finished, you'll hit play again, and we will finish number 9 together. Okay, our last problem of tonight is going to be a problem-solving problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to read with a pen as always, which means you're going to be not only underlining words, but we're going to be writing numbers above words and being able to work some equations out and things like that as we go. So reading with a pen is not just underlining words, and we've talked about that a lot. So we have Amy has 68 stickers she put in a book. So this tells me that Amy has a total of 68. 68 is our total. This is really important to understand because when you're dividing, you already know what your total is. When you're multiplying, you don't know your total. So that's when you have a word problem and you don't know whether you multiply or divide. You check to see if you know what your total is. Now, let's keep going. Each page held 6 stickers. That means we're going to have 6 groups. And I know that because it says each. Good. She put the remaining stickers on the last page. So if she has remaining stickers, that's where the remainder is going to go. It's going to go on the last page. How many pages did she fill completely? So I want to know how many pages did she use? Okay, so I want to know 6 times what number of pages would equal 68 or close to 68 without going over. And then I want to know, and that's just my first question because look, I have a whole nother question. Then I want to know how many stickers did she put on the last page. So then I want to know what the remainder is. I have 2 questions. All right, so what is my first question? My first question is how many pages did she fill completely? Which means I'm going to say 6 times what number will equal 68 without going over. Well, what do I do if I don't know my problem? The basic fact, I find my multiples. 6, 12, 18. 18 plus 6 is 24. Keep going. 30, good. 36, 42, 48, 54, 60, 66, and I can't go to 68. So I know to stop at 66. Now, how many times did I do that? I did it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times. So I know that if she put 6 stickers on a page, she would have to have 11 pages. So she filled 11 pages completely, but she only used 66 stickers. So I know that to answer the pages filled completely, hard to write with my finger, would equal 11. Now, how many did she put on the last page? Well, I know that if 6 times 11 equals 66, how many would I have to add to 66 to get to 68? 2. So how many do I have left over? I have 2. So how many stickers did she put on the last page? The last page equaled 2 stickers. And I probably need to go and label this 11 as pages. So let me go ahead and do that. Not so bad. So we've solved several division problems tonight. Be ready to solve some more of these word problems tomorrow. That's what we're going to be working on in full force. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.